Hi guys, we'll be starting the session in the next 5 minutes. So please stick around.
Hi guys, thank you so much for joining. I think we have enough attendance to get started. So I think if you guys can hear me, just either put it in the Q&A or just show of hands, just anything so I know that everyone's in. All right, great. Okay guys, so good evening. Thank you so much once again for joining. When we hold these webinars, we've seen so many people actually having other options to do something with their time, but they decide to spend it trying to figure out what to do with their future. So it sort of is the perfect indication that you're taking it seriously. We've seen a lot of people always ask for recordings and, just wanting to even find a solution for themselves with the easy way out. So I'm glad that such a huge attendance is currently happening because of just pure intellectual interest. So to get started, let me just give you all context quickly. As some of you all might know, we've been conducting training for the ACCA qualification for more than 8 years now, actually. I myself have completed ACCA back in 2013. So I started in 2010. So that's 13 years back when I started and 10 years back when I completed. And that time there was nobody who, would have assumed that ACCA would have picked up to the extreme extent that it is. And I think it's the peak time that most people who are wanting to start a career in finance or in accounts, who want to keep their opportunities for India and overseas open, who want to explore what to do if it turns out that finance and accounts is not their career path, but the absolute base knowledge is required, whether for your career or even for your personal life. Some of you all might land up starting your own ventures for which, without the understanding of finance accounts, it's all going to break apart. So any of you guys who are looking at using finance in any form, which is supposed to be all of y'all, are somehow going to benefit from a qualification like ACCA if you choose to take it up. So at Zell, we are what we call platinum partners with ACCA. And in this webinar, of course, I'll be taking you through the entire details, right? I had co-founded Zell, like I said, 8 years ago. And since then, we've trained more than 10,000 candidates only for ACCA. I think year on year, we do over 5,000 new candidates now, since it's grown over the last year and a half. And we have our team members who will be answering questions. So across the webinar, if there are things you all want me to answer, but anyways, I'll leave it for Q&A at the end. Leave it in the Q&A. Our team will start responding. Okay, so first things first, I'll give you all a quick introduction before we jump into myths. The good part is I'm assuming most of you all know the basics of ACCA, which is why you're attending myths to be debunked. And a quick basic introduction. So ACCA is what we call global CA, right? It is the headquarters are based in London, and they have offices in Mumbai, in Delhi, in Bangalore. And across the last 8 years, the number of students are increasing for sure. But the reason they're increasing is because the industry, companies such as, if you all have heard about the companies like KPMG, Deloitte, PwC, these are the kind of companies that are hiring ACCAs more and more. And these are the top companies, right? JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley, Standard Chartered, etc., etc. But there are also a lot of other companies which earlier would have not hired anything but a CA are now hiring ACCAs. So with that, let's just jump into the details. Sana, if you can go to the next slide.
Sorry, just a minute.
So ACCA, right? Association of Chartered Certified Accountants. When I say global CA, the reason I say global is because A, it's applicable across the world, including India. And CA essentially covers everything that a chartered accountant knows. So accounts, finance, costing, audit, taxation. ACCA even has a business paper at the end, which was actually my favorite when I was studying, because it gave me a holistic view of how to look at finance, or rather actually how to look at businesses from the lens of a finance expert. So I got to, look at things like profitability and burn rate and valuation way before it became a thing, to understand what fundamentally is important to make to make a business work, and what sound business advice, financial advice really is all about. So that's what ACCA basically will teach you. Sana, you can go to the next slide. For most of you all, remember guys, it should take anywhere from 1.5 to 3 years to complete this qualification. Again, depending on where you are. If you've just given your 10th or 12th, you'll be taking up ACCA from the first stage. And if you take it up from the first stage, we've seen people take around 2 to 3 years to complete it. Now, there have been a few new rules in ACCA that have come up in the last month. So I'll share that with you all as well. So this is what we're going to cover. This is more of the intro, like I was saying, right? More or less, I've just covered everything. So let's just jump into the myths. All right. Most people have stopped actually worrying about this, but this was the biggest issue that I saw when I was studying it. It was saying it was not recognized in India. Now, why do I feel, how is this a myth, first of all? Back in 2013, or I think 2014 early, right? When I got done with ACCA, at that time when nobody knew about it, I had interviewed at enough companies, enough multinationals at that point, which I wanted to start in, and a couple of mid-sized firms in Mumbai, which apparently they knew about ACCA. And of course, it wasn't like they were searching for ACCA or seeking them out. But as long as I was interviewing for departments like due diligence, I gave an interview for, of course, statutory audit. I gave an interview for accounting advisory. So due diligence was in Deloitte, account advisory was in KPMG. I gave an interview for transfer pricing in PwC and in a mid-sized firm. And this is back then. Fast forward to today. Our placement team at Zell last month, in the month of August, had over 1,000 vacancies for ACCAs pan-India. We had vacancies from the biggest of the big companies in our domain to small startups, all who are open to hiring either ACCA specifically, or they were like CA, ACCA, we are open to all. 1,000 vacancies and across the life cycle of different candidates. So students who are semi-qualified, people who had qualified but with no experience. And we also, of course, had ACCAs themselves with a few years of experience, all who seem to be having opportunities specifically for them. And the packages that they were being offered was similar to that of an Indian CA, a fresher ACCA, which means he's completed all the exams and has also finished the work experience requirement before that. That's when you become a qualified member. They used to have packages anywhere from 6 to 8 lakhs 10 years ago. And now we have between 10 to 12 lakhs in the top companies as well. When it comes to you asking, these partners of CA firms now about ACCA, at least the ones that we know of, and that's really a huge chunk, all of them have sort of agreed and accepted. Some have specifically said, no, I don't want to hire ACCAs. Majority of them are open. But the point is, recognition has basically ceased to be an issue in India. Today only I was talking to my co-founder and we were discussing that the lack of awareness that we used to face 8 years ago at Zell when we started, it's completely vanished. So myth number one, it's not recognized in India, meaning just go and talk to people around you who are a little academically inclined in the field of commerce, and they would have, well, 90% of them would have heard about ACCA. Okay, let's go on to the next myth. Now, I have seen students in the past few years take this up more as a shortcut than anything. Now, let me first clarify a few things. You take the final paper of the final CA level, right? You take its accounting paper, right? The final CA accounting paper. And you take the final ACCA accounting paper, right? The final ACCA accounting paper is what we call at the professional level in ACCA. It's a paper called Strategic Business Reporting, SBR, we call it. Both of these are accounting papers for the respective qualification at the final level. Now, we've had so many chartered accountants who've given this exam, and CAs who are qualified claim that both the papers at an individual capacity are equally difficult, which means whatever effort you need to put in to study for the CA exams, you put in for the ACCA exams. The only reason which I will 100% assure you guys is, why people say this and what part of this is true, is the fact that CA, the structure, the system that CA qualification has, as many of y'all would know, requires you to clear exams in what we call groups, right? At the inter-CA or IPCC level, there is group 1, group 2, and same for final CA. And each group has 4 exams that you have to give. And unfortunately, right, you need to clear all the 4 papers in the same attempt if you want to move forward. Now, there are a few exceptions when it comes to somebody scoring 60 plus in some exams and all of that. I'm skipping over that. For majority of the CA audience, if I give group 1 of, let's say, final CA, That's 4 exams. I need to clear all 4 exams at the same time. If I clear 3 papers and I don't clear 1 paper by 1 mark, I will have to give all the 4 papers again. And I had to wait for half a year because CA exams are held only twice a year. So, if I have a grade 3 papers and the 4th paper I just miss, I basically have to reappear for the same effort again. Whereas in ACCA, let's take the 4, first of all, ACCA allows you to give 1 paper at a time, 2 papers at a time, 3 or 4. Let's do the same example. You give 4 papers in ACCA at any point and you don't clear 1 by 1 mark. You're done with the other 3 and you have to only give the same paper you didn't clear again, which, by the way, most students give with the next 3 papers. So you're always moving ahead. And ACCA exams are held on an average every quarter, every March, June, September, December. So what happens is that if I flip this and I say that, okay, look, if you are having a tough time with ACCA, don't give 4 papers, don't give 3 papers, give 2 or give 1 paper at a time for 1 quarter. Just focus full energy on 1 exam. Make sure that whatever you have to do to clear this exam, you do. You study, you give tests, give mocks, appear for the paper, pass, and then move on to the next paper. The focus that you are allowed to take 1 paper or 2 papers at a time, which is customized to your time and availability and effort, right? That's what makes it easier than CA, but not the individual papers, not the curriculum, not the amount you have to study, not the amount of preparation you require, not the correction, none of that, right? So that's the other myth which I would like to have busted for sure. Sana, next one. All right. Now, in India, after grade 12, in your grade 12 is when you really give accounting exams for your boards. And if people who want to get into CA, they're the ones who really, score well in accounts, or they at least understand that I like accounts. And that's when CA becomes their option. So there is this mentality in the market that if I want to do an accounting or a finance qualification, I need to have some prerequisites. I need to have some understanding of accounts. I need to have some understanding, or I have to like maths. Well, the good part is that that's not the case with ACCA, and there are reasons, of course, which I'll take you through. Right? There's nothing to tell you all without any logic. ACCA is a global qualification. It doesn't have the concept of 12th accounts board exams anywhere in the world except for in India. So they have to open it up for the rest of the world. Now, what happens is they don't have this criteria of when when you can appear for ACCA. If you go to the website and you see the eligibility for ACCA, you'll have to choose which country you're talking about. And for India, you'll see that, okay, if you've given grade 12, you should have scored 65 in accounts, 65 in English, and 50% in all the others. And that's what will turn you eligible for ACCA, correct? But ACCA has also given us another route. ACCA is telling us that if you've come from any other background or you from any other country and you've not even done 0 to 1 of accounts, don't worry, you can still appear for ACCA. There is another sort of a pathway called Foundation in Accountancy, FIA. By the way, if any of you all are, can just show of hand, are any of you guys have not given 12th so far? Okay. So for you guys, right, also go on YouTube. I have made a video on this thing called FIA, Foundation in Accountancy. But the short part of it is that no matter what age you are at and no matter what background you have, you can start ACCA from this by opting for this pathway, because ACCA allows you to learn everything about finance and accounts from ACCA qualification itself. So I have students who are in grade 11, have never touched accounts. They appear through this FIA route. ACCA takes it up. ACCA gives you the option of studying extra papers, which of course you can skip, and you basically can start studying from the same paper as that of somebody who's given grade 12. And that, as long as you're willing to put in the effort to catch up and to learn, the body will not stop you. The qualification will not stop you. There is no need for, accounting or finance background, right? Even in your by grade 12. In fact, a lot of people in the beginning, when they were taking up ACCA, they would always ask me, maths hai kya? Maths. Somehow people are really, against maths. Well, ACCA does not have maths. There is no need to do maths. ACCA has a lot of logic. And as long as you are not good at math for some reason, but you can at least be good with logic. ACCA teaches you how to turn accounts, finance, math into logic and solve for that, which is actually practical in the real world, because today I might not remember multiple formulas and things I had learned in school, college, or even for my ACCA, but I know how to derive the answer for majority of the things. So no matter what stage you are at, ACCA is something that you can actually take up. And let's go to the fourth. In the meantime, let me just see some questions. Can we take ACCA as our only career? I don't know. So Manvi has asked this question. Can we take ACCA as our only career? If you mean, is it your primary qualification and is that enough for you to build a career? Answer is yes. Let me just finish the other question. Duration for ACCA, somebody's asking. Like I said, it's between 2 to 3 years. And yes, let's get back to the myth. So it's all about accounts. ACCA, chartered accounting is all about accounts. This is actually one of the worst things to believe. And by the way, this is not for ACCA, it's also for Indian CA, and for that matter, CFA, CMA, CPA, all these professional qualifications. So what does ACCA really cover? I'm going to explain again. ACCA, first of all, like CA, is split into finance and accounts, right? You learn everything in finance and accounts, and it's quite deep, right? Like I said, you learn accounting standards and overall accounts. You learn financial management, you learn costing, you learn taxation, you learn auditing, you learn law, right? And you pass all these exams quite in depth. So you sort of start becoming an expert at a holistic level. And you also know how to actually, how to, what's the right word? How do you develop a sense of what is really going to economically work in the real world? We've been reading in the news over the last almost 5-8 years about the startup world in India going mad. Valuations being crazy, companies being shut down, companies becoming unicorns. And then this whole debate on valuation versus profitability. And what's the point of this when companies are loss making, and how do they improve their margins, etc., etc. When you study CA, ACCA kind of qualifications, you learn not just what's happened in the last 5 years, but what's been the case over the last 100 years in human history when it comes to large and small companies, and what are the best practices to make a company, an organization sustainable from the lens of finance. You get to know at a personal level how to actually calculate your own growth in numbers in finance. When do you invest? We listen to people for tips in stock market. We hear people buying gold and putting money in fixed deposits. But when you have to make a decision for yourself, you cannot keep relying on what you hear and how the market is changing. You've got to be able to figure it out by yourself. All of this is taught by ACCA. It's not just about the job you're going to do in an audit or an accounting advisory firm or a taxation firm. It's about how do you figure out how to solve problems? How do you figure out solutions, not just for yourself, but for your clients? And it's not necessarily from the finance point of view. Many of you have heard about auditing, and if some of you have done auditing, many of you might not like it. But auditing is brilliant to learn about the world, and auditors who are really in it for a long time are brilliantly smart, like bloody smart. Like, when Zell's audit happens, our auditor actually sits down and understands in depth about what all are we offering, how is it that we are delivering it to our customers, etc., etc. And they do that for all their clients. So they have a wealth of knowledge. You can't just know all of that if you studied only one subject in audit, right? You got to have a variety of skill sets specifically to that of personal finance and business, along with normal chartered accounting, finance, and accounts. You also develop the ability to communicate with ACCA. You can't pass these exams easily, right? It's not about English or Hindi or any language. It's about your expression of your ability to express your thoughts, right? ACCA is very clever. They've put a lot of emphasis and a lot of marks on students being able to actually show professionalism in their exams. And you're forced to learn all of that. So by the end, what you become is a holistic professional who has the ability to walk a path in the career of finance and accounts, and build a career there, or use their entire knowledge to build a career in any other domain, any other form that she or he would want. So that's something to really take away, right? Your skill sets actually grow 360 rather than just in a specialized area. Yeah, Sana, next one. Yeah, then this is again surprising, right? ACCA totally cost between 4 to 5 lakhs spread over a period of 2 to 3 years. And out of this, you don't pay all at once, you pay as you go, right? Also, ACCA allows you to work when you are studying. So you can also earn it back while you're studying, right? I know so many people, including myself, I remember, at least some part of my exam fees, etc., I would try to pay back from my articleship that I was doing at that point of time. And, ACCA as a body treats India as an emerging market. So they really allow heavy discounts for even official fees, by the ACCA body itself. Now, if I think about 4 to 5 lakhs, right, for people who are probably going to make a career because of this qualification, right? People jump on going for an MBA to UK, US, etc. And by the way, if you want to do an MBA, I genuinely encourage it. But my only advice is it's only the top 20 institutes you should do, otherwise don't do an MBA. But anyways, even if you're in the less than 20, the 21st and above ranked college, and you go, let's say, to US or UK for a year or two, people spend over a CR, over a crore. And, of course, they take a loan and they think they'll pay it back from there, etc., etc. But I have also seen a lot of people who go there and come back because, here, what they did the MBA for, first of all, the college was okay. It was, of course, a superb fun time. They networked, they partied, they did learn. But at the end, it's the jump that they expected, or the return on investment for a 1 CR degree in MBA, especially if they come back to India. Most of them don't make up that cost for a long, long time, right? So when I compare it to something like that, it's an absolute no-brainer. And any qualification, right? A CA costs you 3 lakhs approximately. A CFA costs you 3 to 4 lakhs. At least the qualifications that are around us, ACCA really isn't, or any of these professional qualifications aren't really that expensive, especially if you make up for it, right? And lastly, guys, remember, when you become a member of any of these qualifications, you have to pay what we call subscription fees every year to remain part of this qualification, because it is because of this qualification, the certificate they give you, that actually causes you to earn more and more each year. Okay, Sana, let's go to the next one. Yeah. Now, ACCA, one of the new rules I was telling you all is that it has allowed a lot of universities in India to have students immediately after grade 12. So ACCA has a total of 13 exams. Let me clear that. 13 exams. Ideally, if you were in college, you have to give all 13 exams. But if you're a graduate, if you're a BCom graduate, for example, you get 4 out of 13 exemptions. So you have to only appear for 9 papers. And if you're a chartered accountant, then out of 13 papers, you get exemptions for 9 papers. You just have to give the last 4 papers, right? And the reason is very simple. ACCA believes that, okay, if you've studied something in the past, we don't want you to repeat that for our exam. So if you're already a chartered accountant, you don't need to give the exams for ACCA again at the first and second level for the first 9 exams, because ACCA saw that, okay, the curriculum of CA is overlapping heavily with our curriculum for the 9 papers. So let those CA students only give the final 4 papers, which if they clear, we can sort of call them ACCA members. Now, in the last month, ACCA has announced that they will allow exemptions for up to 5 out of 13 exams for students after 12th. So essentially, anybody who earlier was supposed to give 13 exams now has to give 8 exams. And we've seen that this has turned to be a a reason people take up ACCA. Now, the pro of getting exemptions is that you don't have to repeat what you've already studied and you save that much time and money, which is fair. The issue is that most people are taking the exemption up without really being ready for the next few papers. And look, if let's say you and me both have just given grade 12, right? And both of us are taking up ACCA, and both of us are eligible for 5 out of 13 exemptions, which means I don't have to give 5 papers, I have to give only 8 papers. And let's say I grab onto them and you don't. Okay. So you will take approximately 1 year more than me, right? And maybe 1.2 lakh rupees more than me, because you'll give those 5 papers so you basically be studying from zero. And I'm assuming that you understand that that means your base is so much stronger than mine, that even though you are a year behind, there is a chance that you will catch up and probably beat me when we are coming close to the graduation of our college, because obviously your base is stronger. So you pass the future papers also more, whereas I struggle maybe for my future papers. Now, of course, remember, there are exceptions. People who take up exemptions might actually be smart enough to do it. Good for you guys. But more often than not, I would say that if you are in no hurry, right? 1 year, if you're extra studying, but you're ensuring that by the end of 2.5, 3 years, you're done with ACCA. Your knowledge is strong. It'll serve you for the rest of your life, right? If you spend 1 lakh extra in ACCA because of not taking those exemptions, your NE is going to recover it as soon as your 13 papers are over in 2-3 months. So, parents who ask me, should I take exemptions or no for my child? My question is, my response is that as long as, see, there has to be a reason. It can't be laziness or convenience that acha mil raha hai to le lo, right? Then I would not suggest. Yeah, if you are a brilliant student, you know you can catch up, or you are in a hurry to complete for responsibility reasons, then take up exemptions. But taking up exemptions is not the hack for making ACCA easier. It will actually backfire if you take the exemptions prematurely. And finally, guys, myth number 7. Opportunities are only in MNCs, multinational companies, right? Especially if you call a lot of counselors, they tell you that, the job opportunities are, we have 70% multinationals in India, and they are the ones who have international clients. True. In fact, I would even encourage most of you guys that your qualified job after an ACCA, which means not the internship part, the 13 papers you study, and you got to complete 3 years of experience in ACCA totally. As you know, those 3 years you can do in a mid-sized firm, but I would recommend that your first job, it should be in a multinational, because not only is it a good brand, but they're hiring at a good package, and it's a good start to your career. The first 2-3 years you should spend in an MNC. But the myth is not about whether it's good or not. The myth is that that's the only option I have, and that is wrong. Today, first of all, even at Zell, our finance team has an ACCA in it. In fact, the one who's leading it currently is an ACCA himself. We have faculty members who are CFOs, the highest designation for a finance expert to have. And so many of these guys are growing in their career, not from MNCs, but are either being paid as much or sometimes more, because mid-sized firms, startups are all open to ACCAs. And this is only India, by the way. Forget overseas, because that's not the point here, but overseas has the same story. I would say, yes, if you are in a tier 3 city in India, I would request you to move to a tier 1 if you are starting your career, because only your first job needs somebody to recognize that you are an ACCA. After that, the rest of your life, it's going to be on performance. It's going to be on what have you done to add value to your clients or to your organization for you to jump in your career. But yeah, to say limited to, and by the way, it's not even just a job. There are so many, like I had said earlier, right? People who started their own startups and ventures who are ACCAs themselves. They've taken experience from other companies when they're studying ACCA, and then they get into their own ventures. I have 2 ACCA students of ours who are now starting their own AI-based, they have this whole corporate presentation venture that they are starting. So the point being that the limitation is not to multinationals. So guys, I hope that these 7 myths, first of all, are something that if any of you all have had, I hope I've given enough examples and logical explanations to know why, I'm sitting at a point of view where I can see a lot of data for ACCAs in India, and it's all green, 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 and it's just becoming greener year on year. And I'm not saying this because, of course, we are ACCA Platinum partners and I'm an ACCA. It's because my teams are able to place my students, and that is my final conviction in the growth of ACCA in India. All right, now I'm going to spend the rest of the lecture quickly going through the going quickly through the details of ACCA. Sana, we'll go quickly, right? So the first point is eligibility. Basically, if any of you guys have cleared grade 10, you are eligible for ACCA. For more details, you can reach out to us to understand your particular eligibility. So like I said, guys, ACCA has 3 papers split into 3 levels: knowledge, skill, and professional. This covers everything that, like I was saying earlier, that you would need to know to become an F&A expert, finance and accounting expert. Covers accounts, audit, tax, costing, financial management, law, business, everything. Next slide. So now 3 levels, as you can see, right? First of all are computer based, right? You got to have 50 on 100, score 50 on 100 in each paper to clear. And the overall passing rate in ACCA across the world averages out between 40 to 50%. At Zell, of course, because we are trainers and we have a full massive army of ACCA members to help us with our teaching, passing rate at ACCA, of course, is naturally higher. It's at 8 out of 10 students rather than the average 4 or 5 out of 10 students clearing ACCA in the world. Sana, can you turn to the next slide? Yeah. So the attempts throughout the year, guys. So as you can see, exams are every quarter for level 2 and level 3. For level 1, they're on demand, which means that you can give the exam anytime in the year. The first level takes anywhere between 8 months to 1 year. Second level takes 1 year. Third level takes 1 year. You can speed it all up depending on your aspirations, but this is the average, 2 to 3 years it takes to complete. Like I was saying earlier, right now there's a new exemption rule introduced that as long as you are from the universities that ACCA accepts, for which, by the way, you should call us if you are, in question, or go to the, go on Google and search for ACCA exemption calculator. You put in a university and you'll know whether you're eligible for how many exemptions. So yeah, this is more or less self-explanatory. Sana, the next one. Now, what is it that we can provide for candidates? It's, of course, Platinum Partner gives us a lot of things, right? We get the earliest news in the market. So, there was a change in one of the exams called Strategic Business Leader recently. So we were the first people in the country to be informed, including this exemption change which happened. Secondly, like I was saying, ACCA wants India to take up more and more. They want more candidates from India. So they provide discounts. How do they provide discounts? They tell Platinum partners like us. So we in turn pass it on to you guys. So we basically get all the monetary benefits that ACCA has. And because of this also, we get a lot of companies in India who are hiring ACCAs come to us. So Platinum Partner has its own. And of course, the main crux of it is that we have students pass at an extremely high rate. Because ACCA provides us this platinum status, looking at our pass rate, looking at the number of students we have, looking at the number of faculties we have. So only when all of that is a check mark, they give us, by the way, platinum is the highest, right? Second is gold, third is silver. The second point is live training and recorded. So we basically created options for everybody in the market in the country who wants to study ACCA. If you are a student and you have a lot of time, you'll take weekdays because that's where you cover the most content. If you are busy in the week, your base is strong, but you need direction, you need handholding, you do weekends because, that is on time. Both weekdays and weekends both cover the same thing, but the amount of time we spend on each is depending on the candidate who comes in weekday or weekend. We have a lot of people who are wanting to, clear their base. They all appear for weekday, right? So, and those who don't have time go for weekend. And we also have everything recorded. So if you're on the move, right, for whatever reason, you take up the recorded lectures. All our faculty members have actually given the exams that you are giving in the last 5, 8, 10 years. So they actually handhold you right from the curriculum to the mindset in the exam. Right. The fourth point is weekday and weekend training. Fifth point is placement assistance. Of course, placements is everything, in a way why we start taking up these qualifications. So obviously our job is to help you guys get placed, and touch wood, we are in a good place. Eventually it all boils down to how you really crack the interview. But when companies let us know that there are vacancies, we let you guys know. You all send your CVs. If the company likes your CVs, they call you for the interview. You crack the interview, you're in. And lastly, passing rate. Like I said, passing rate is what we spend most amount of time on to ensure that you guys get the right faculties, the right content, the right mocks, the right tests, and the right instructions and guidance to clear these exams. So the body fees, I'll keep it simple, right? I said earlier, between 4 to 5 lakhs total. This includes what I call the body fees, which is what you pay the ACCA body, and the next slide, Sana, which is the training fees. The training fees is, of course, this is what we do at Zell: weekday, weekend, and self-paced means recorded. If you combine it all, you basically realize that you can complete the qualification in 4 to 5 lakhs over 2 to 3 years, all spread across, like I said. And of course, wait till the end, because here we have, for all of you guys who attend the webinar, we have something for you all. Sana, the next one. Yeah, also we have people again asking in the comments that, I'm from Udaipur, can I give the exam? I'm from Ahmedabad. So a simple answer is, anywhere you are from, yes, the answer is yes. Not only can we train you all, we can send you guys the study material, we can ensure that you get trained, give the right amount of tests and mocks to prepare, and there is an exam center somewhere close by. These are the kind of students that we have from India and other countries. Now, these are the kind of companies, right, where we get placed. So if you can see, some of you can see, there is the big four, what everyone loves: KPMG, Deloitte, PwC, EY, if you can spot them. There's Grant Thornton, there's BDO, there are banks which everyone wants to get into. There are companies like Amazon, there are consulting companies like Accenture, which I know all of us know have value, right? And of course, we have faculties as well from many of these companies. So hopefully, if your dream company is here, there is some benefit for you guys. Yeah, also guys, we are one of the largest YouTube channels in India when it comes to finance and accounting training and counseling. Please have a look, right? I made, I don't know how many hundreds of videos on ACCA over the last few years. It should have all your answers, but please have a look. And if anything, as always, we are available only. Next one, Sana. Okay, so now for any of you all who are still confused about, but you all want to study in the field of finance, the first is ACCA, then it's CPA, then it's CFA, then it's FRM, then it's CMA. All of these qualifications sort of give you a similar direction like ACCA. And for any of these, you can reach out. If not just ACCA, we'll be able to guide you for all of these. As I was saying, right, we just completed 8 years of Zell, on 25th, which was day before yesterday. And there is a discount depending on, the time frame, and basically a scholarship for everybody attending this webinar. The way you do this is you reach out to us, say that you've attended the webinar. We'll just check, your email address or your registration basically on the webinar link. And if you will be, depending on what weekday, weekend, whatever you'll end up appearing for, or rather taking up, there will be a scholarship of up to 20,000. So this is our way of ensuring that if cost is a barrier, we at least contribute in some way to lessen that for all of you guys. Sana, next one. So guys, with that, I'm going to open it up to some Q&A. Please just raise your hand and I'll unmute you guys and you all can ask your questions out loud. Okay. First is Ruhi. Ruhi, you can unmute yourself and ask your question. Ishika, I've also given you permission to unmute and talk. Okay. Namit, if you can please ask your question.
Okay. First of all, good evening, sir. Actually, I want to ask like how much I need to pay for ACCA and how much time, I mean, is it as I am postgraduate, so how much time will it take for me? Like I fear कि मैं study अब कर भी पाऊंगा या नहीं कर पाऊंगा क्योंकि मैं working हूँ last 6 years से. So I fear कि अब study हो पाएगी या नहीं हो पाएगी इस type से.
कितना टाइम का एक्सपीरियंस है?
6 years.
6 years, no? Okay. तो देखो मतलब 100% थोड़े
30 प्लस हो चुका सर, इसलिए मैं सोचता हूँ कि अब पता नहीं स्टडी में मन लगेगा नहीं लगेगा, हालांकि मन करता है करने का, लेकिन अगर न्यूज़पेपर भी पढ़ने बैठो तो न्यूज़पेपर भी नहीं इतना पढ़ पाता मैं.
हाँ
तो
पता है. सो हाँ डेफिनेटली देखो एफर्ट डालना पड़ेगा बिकॉज अगर छूट जाती है आदत तो उसमें थोड़ा आई अंडरस्टैंड टाइम लगता है. बट दैट बीइंग सेड ना, हमारे काफी स्टूडेंट्स है, अराउंड 30-35% ऑफ आवर स्टूडेंट्स हु हैव मोर देन 5 years ऑफ एक्सपीरियंस. तो ऐसा नहीं है कि स्टूडेंट्स नहीं कैंडिडेट्स नहीं करते. यू नो आप बेसिकली आपको इतना करना है कि इफ यू टेक अप द ट्रेनिंग, जो भी क्लास में करा जाता है, जो भी एक्सपेक्टेशन है, उसके लिए आप बैक टू स्कूल डेज जो भी मतलब रात को पढ़ो, सुबह पढ़ो, टेस्ट दो. बट सी माय जॉब इज टू गेट यू टू पास द एग्जाम. आपका जॉब है कि आप इतना पढ़ाई करो जितना हम बोल रहे हैं, उतनी मेहनत करो, तो पास होने के चांसेस आर बेसिकली वेरी हाई. तो मुझे नहीं लग रहा है कि आप नहीं कर पाओगे, बट यस डेफिनेटली एफर्ट थोड़ा ज्यादा लगेगा.
ओके सर, थैंक यू.
थैंक यू. Okay, Swam, I have permitted you to talk. Himali, I have also given you permission to talk.
Good evening, sir. Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible.
Sir, I have a doubt that in this I have heard so many myths like that we need 3 years experience to get the degree of ACCA. So after completing a 13 papers, we get degree, or we want 3 years experience and then we get the degree?
Sure. So you can do them simultaneously. तो क्या होता है basically ACCA, see whether you take CA, whether you take MBA, whether you take CFA, CPA, you take any qualification, even if you go outside of finance and you do MBBS, right? Everywhere along with exams, you need to demonstrate work experience to be fully qualified. तो ACCA में भी क्या होता है, they say कि there is something called PER, practical experience requirement. Usme you have to do 3 years for sure. But the 3 years are not to be done after the papers only. You can do the 3 years before the papers. So the guy I was talking to, right, Namit, I think, right? If he's worked for the last few years in finance or accounts, his experience will be counted. Somebody like me, I had studied and worked together. So when I finished my 13 papers, or that time it was 14 papers, I finished my work experience. And there are some students, what they do is, when they study for the 13 papers, somewhere in the middle, around the 6th, 7th paper, they start working as well. So the last part of ACCA, they work and study together and complete the last bit of their exams, in 1.5 to 2 years. So when you finish your 13 papers, you have 2 years of experience. That time you are called an ACCA affiliate. Affiliate is somebody who's completed the 13 papers, but not the full work experience. And then when you complete the work experience, you become an ACCA member. The market is ready to hire you as an affiliate also and as a member also. Member is always higher because that means you have more work experience. So this is the way it works with ACCA.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Anusha, I am permitted you to talk.
Hello, sir.
Yes, Anusha.
Sir, actually, I want to pursue ACCA and eventually I want to go to Canada. Can I do that?
Yes. So a lot of people who want to do ACCA besides UK, they want to go to countries like Dubai, Canada, and Australia. Now, a few years back, Canada and ACCA, Canada CA, which is called Canadian CPA,
Yeah.
and ACCA had a tie-up, where if you do ACCA, then you have to give the Canadian tax and law paper and you can become a Canadian CP. And that's how. In fact, I had a husband-wife duo a long time back. I knew them. They were working in India in KPMG. They were chartered accountants. And they wanted to go to Canada, but they were not able to get their formalities. So, but they got to know that ACCA helps them. So they did ACCA. And they basically it worked out for them. And today they're both in Canada, settled down. So Canada ke liye ACCA definitely helps. But that MOU had recently expired and they're working on renewing it. So if you start ACCA and by the time they renew it, hopefully it should all be done. It should help you with through the MOU.
Sir, actually, I am in degree final year now. If I register for ACCA, how much years will it take me?
I
to
would say
complete?
you average out 1.5 to 2 years to complete it from the day you start.
Okay. And should I also pursue for MBA in Canada?
During your ACCA or when you reach Canada?
No, during ACCA.
You mean prepare for the MBA entrance? What or online MBA? Which are you
No,
talking?
actually, I want to go to Canada for MBA.
But how?
And
Okay, so you'll be in Canada doing your MBA and doing ACCA
yeah,
in Canada?
yeah.
See, I mean, then it's all on you. If you think that you can juggle the two, because kya hoga, it should not be that you take it up with aggression, but then if any of them becomes too heavy, right? The only thing you'll drop is ACCA because MBA you can't drop, it's like school. Once you start, you'll have to complete it.
Yeah.
So my suggestion would be that if you are confident, do both. Otherwise, you should choose which one and then finish one, because you finish one, you start your career and then you can do the other one little later. It'll still be worth it.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I think we're a little out of time. I have one more question. I'll have Satvik talk. Satvik, I've given you permission to talk. Please unmute yourself.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Sir, can I do internship after level 3 ACCA, sir?
Yes, you can. But ideally, my recommendation is start internship at latest after level 2, earliest after level 1.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, thank you. And last question, guys, I will have Saransh. Saransh, I've given you this thing. Please unmute and talk.
I'm currently in 12th and I just want to pursue ACCA after my 12th and I am currently enrolled for the CA foundation.
Okay.
So,
Actually, I'm so sorry, Saransh, I'm unable to really hear you. It's coming from really far and muffled.
Sir, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Sir, actually, I am currently in 12th and I have enrolled for the CA Foundation June 24 exam.
Okay.
But if after attempting that, I have to complete my ACCA course. Like I have to pursue ACCA. I realized after a year that I should do ACCA.
Sure.
So can I be getting the assumption in the CA if I cleared CA Foundation in ACCA?
Yes. So CA Foundation alone does not give exemptions in ACCA, but you'll be doing BCom, I'm assuming, right?
Okay.
So if your university which you're doing BCom from is accepted by ACCA, then you can get 5 exemptions. And like I was saying, just be sure that you will be able to catch up with the other papers because you've taken exemptions. But to your exemption question, if your university is accepting it, you will get it, not because of foundation.
Okay, thank you, sir. And sir, my one more doubt was that after completing my ACCA, like after 3 years, can I be? I can go to Australia. Like, can I be getting the visa or like approval?
So I know people. So there's one of my friends, Zahir. He had gotten an opportunity in Melbourne a few years ago when he was sitting in India because of his ACCA. So I know that you do get opportunities in Australia. But yeah, I don't know if it's visas and all of that ke liye ACCA will help you or that you have to do by yourself. What you need to see is, what I also know is that like I was talking about Canada, you can do ACCA and then appear for Australian CPA by just giving the local tax or law exam. And that's how you go to Australia. Also remember, at the end of the day, whenever you look at opportunities in the world and in the future, a lot of it will depend on the economy of the country. So just take a few things into account. But yes, it's a good target, a good aim that I want to start in Australia, and ACCA can help you get there.
And sir, my last doubt was that how to convince my parents, like they are thinking that ACCA is not worth it. They think that CA is more worth it than ACCA.
Yeah. No, see, I mean, of course, a lot of people do have that opinion, and to a certain extent, in specific situations, that is also true. I mean, look, you can do one thing. You can have where are you based out of?
Yeah, I am from Nagpur, sir.
I mean, look, one is I can talk to your parents. I can have somebody from my team talk to them, right? We can share all the experiences that we've seen and give them as much comfort as they require. Of course, from your end also, all the research you require, please do and show it to them. And if they do agree, you'll have to really make sure that you make use of this qualification if they do land up shifting, their faith because of your conviction. So I think, of course, we can help out in all ways. Yeah, we are always there. We can't hear you, Saran, again. Okay, guys. Anyways, I think this is the end of the webinar. I hope a lot of questions have been answered. Okay, I got a couple of more. Wait, I'll just give them permission. 1 second. So Anuradha and Farhan, I'll just take these last two questions, right? Farhan, I have unmuted you. I mean, sorry, allowed you to talk. Please unmute. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Sir, I have completed just my BCom now and cleared 8 papers of ACCA.
You've completed BCom and 8 papers of ACCA.
Yeah, sir. Out of which 6 are exemption because of my integrated degree.
Correct.
Now I should take a break to complete ACCA, or I should go for MBA or work, sir?
My immediate answer is that because you already have completed half of ACCA, more than half, you just have 5 papers left.
Yes, sir.
5 papers you can finish anywhere between 6 to 12 months, depending on how fast and how aggressively you study. I would say you've already, it's been part of your 3 years. You've done more than half of it. Take out 6 to 9 months, complete it, and then do MBA. For the rest of your life, you will have a global chartered accounting qualification along with whatever else you would like.
Okay, sir. I should take a break to complete ACCA and then go to MBA.
Yeah, I mean, break is a choice again based on your, how you found the 2 papers that you appeared for, how much time it went, how much energy of yours goes. Do you need a break, or can you do without a break? That's a choice. And if you feel it's required, a 6-month break is fine. Don't make it too long.
Okay, sir. Then, sir, I have searched jobs, but I am not getting a job, sir, because I am considering MBA.
Yeah, companies will not want to invest. Where are you based out of?
I am in Bangalore, sir.
In Bangalore. Okay, reach out to us. Okay, I will connect you to the placement team, and maybe we'll also try and help you out in some form. But yeah, that will be a challenge in many companies.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. And last question, Anuradha, I've given you permission.
Hello, sir.
Hi.
So my question is that I just wanted to give a background. I have almost 20 years of experience, and I have just completed my CIMA. My PER requirements are just pending. However, I want to pursue ACCA because I have been working in Bank of America. I have been working with Google, not really related to finance and accounting, but now the teams that I'm handling in Genpact, so I'm working with Genpact, involves a lot of finance and accounting. I am a BCom graduate in commerce and accounts, and also done my MBA in finance and now CIMA as well. Would you suggest me to go in for an ACCA because of the experience that I carry and have not been very closely with finance and accounting?
Yeah. You said you're working currently at Genpact.
Yes, that's right.
And how many years of experience?
20 years of experience.
Awesome. Okay. Okay. And you've been in any capacity, you've been working in the finance and accounting domain.
So, sir, I'll just tell you, not financing and accounting domain. I'm currently with insurance for last 1.5 years. But my role, so I'm working as an AVP. I'm an assistant vice president, and it involves a lot of forecasting, budgeting, managing profitability. So I'm actually owning a business process myself.
Okay.
And that actually involves a lot of accounting and understanding finance. So that is where I thought that I will do SEMA. SEMA has definitely helped me. But now the domain that I have been given by my company is finance and accounting.
Understood.
So
yeah, see, already there are 2-3 things why I think it might make a lot of sense for you. And it's very different from usual students who want to pick it up as their first option, right? So number one is because of SEMA, I think you get 8 exemptions already in ACCA or something of that sort. So you basically get a jump start. Your experience also should more or less overlap over 3 years. Of your last 20 years, you should have worked in some capacity that will, even complete the PE or the experience requirement for ACCA. What ACCA I think can get to the table for you are so number one is the strategic business leader paper that, like I had said initially, I really enjoy, right? It forces you to think beyond finance and accounts only, yet thinking from the point of view of finance and accounts. It gives you a lot of practice on aspects of business which are operational, which are to do with marketing, to do with not only finance and HR and the overall market at a global level, how to prevent crisis, all from the point of view of finance. Okay, what are the different business models? How do you, what are case studies that are, how do you combine data analytics with finance? So that is a superb paper, worth it. Even if you don't do ACCA fully, this paper I would recommend you do on the side irrespective.
okay.
Secondly, ACCA at the final level, there is a strategic business reporting paper, which absolutely solidifies your accounting base. It's IFRS. So Genpact is sort of, at some point going to be under IFRS. So whether you're indirectly or directly helping out with the financial statements, that's something else that you learn. Another couple of papers in ACCA at the final level. One is the advanced performance management, which overlaps significantly with SEMA because it teaches you not only numbers, which is internal to an organization, but also performance. Like how do you actually get work done from a finance and accounting lens. And finally, there's an AFM, Advanced Financial Management paper, which partially SEMA will have covered, but ACCA takes it a little more in depth. So I think that if you spend a year over the next, essentially 4 quarters completing ACCA, I think, I think it can add tremendous value to you more than in your immediate work, at least as an individual.
Yes, and taking business decisions also, it is going to become easier because at the end, as an AVP and a VP, more from a process and performance management standpoint, like into people management is one piece, but managing the finance and business, I think that could help me in managing my own business that I am.
Yeah, in fact, you can take it a notch higher, and if this works out in your favor, you can actually contribute to the organization at a senior level. So that is even more valuable.
You sure? So probably I'll get in touch with Zell again and
Anytime.
talk about the enrollment. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Okay, guys. So with that, thank you so much for attending. If there are questions which I have not been able to answer, then please do reach out to us. Our numbers are here. We're all across the internet. We have offices in Bombay, in Delhi, in Bangalore. Please feel free to reach out. We have a huge team of experts and counselors. And yeah, let us know if there's anything else you can do. And please tell your friends who are thinking of the career in FNA that this is an option that they can think about. Thank you, guys.